Hey, welcome to ICT Network 401. So this is install and manage your server, and today we'll be going through activity 3, which is part of the first session. So sit back, relax. Well, no, don't sit back and relax. Actually follow. Alright, see you in there. Okay, so have the server from activity 2 sitting there open, and activity 3 open as well. So all these links are from the external server world website, and basically what they go through is the step-by-step installation. Now, as discussed in the presentation on class, what we'll do is we'll skip the NTP server section of this, and the reasoning behind that is the NTP server feature becomes active when we set up the domain controller. So we might as well look at it when we do that. By default, the NTP client syncs to the time clock. So we have set the region, so the time clock will eventually resync out and get the correct time because it's currently out of sync. So we'll just let that do its own thing. So we'll skip that one. Now all the settings and the way to do it is here in the activity, but we won't do it. Now the SSH settings here via the GUI are there, but we started to explore doing this in the secure shell. So let's continue to do that. So Windows PowerShell, run as administrator. And just get that window sitting there. Hopefully you can see it. So very quickly, there's a few command lines to enter. So so we're going to get Windows capability, and we're going to get it from online, and the name is like quote, not wrong quote, just a single open SSH asterisk and close the quote. What did I There we have it. Don't put a space in the command structure where there should not be a command. So we want to add a Windows capability and line and the name open SSH dot server 1 2 3 4 tills 0 0 1 0. As you can see, the name there is this one here. Alright, so that's in. Now we want to start the service. Name SSHD and set service. Name SSHD. Start up type automatic. Next we need to check that it's all there, so we want to get service name SSHD type and select object wildcard. So service is there, it's automatic run when required. Display name is open SSH server. So we want to make some changes to our firewall to allow connection. So we want to create a new net firewall rule and the name is going to be SSH. Now this symbol there is the one that is on the tool key next to the 1. Alright, not the quote mark next to the carriage return. Don't get those two mixed up. I did that on the live stream with the class and it didn't go well. Display name is going to be SSH. And then we want description, layout SSH, and profile is any. Direction inbound action is to allow the traffic. The protocol that we use is TCP, and the program is any of them. Local address any, and we need that in the front, and then we want remote address. Local port. '22, and our remote port is going to be any. Now the big question is, did I get that right? Woohoo! So SSH, allow SSH, it's enabled is true, it's inbound, and its actions allowing. The rule was passed successfully, and it's a local source. Yay, yay. Now, all of that typing is the 7 steps in the GUI that is in the activity sheet. Just a different way of doing it. So, doesn't have to be done one way or the other. So, just be aware that it's there and can be done. Now, the client should be installed by default, and so we should be able to look at that. Alright, so what is our so our address is that one. So 192, 168, 139, 128. Oof. Squish that up a bit. Move it across so we can see that. So in theory we should be able to go SSH and just a minute. Alrighty, apologies for the interruption. But when somebody comes and asks you whether you want to have a cuppa, you got to say yes, don't you? So SSH program, I Teach Cisco is my user account, and next we say the IP address of the server we're connecting to, and it is 128. So, alright, so this is the server's IP address, and we hit enter. It'll ask for the password, and as this was the second time I did this, it didn't come up with the "Are you sure you want to connect to this?" because the authenticity of the host can't be confirmed because it hadn't set up the fingerprint for the connection. So once you've done connected once, it'll be there. And now if we just do a directory listing, we can look at directories. We can change the directory to documents. No, oh dear. Links. Yeah. Remember your old DOS commands, Mark. Okay. The reason this didn't work is because the format that I typed it in is saying change directory to documents off the root of this drive, which is not where documents exist. It is underneath this one. So that's why change directory space links work, because it's a directory hanging off this current directory. And the change directory ... just moves back one. So if I do that with documents, it changes correctly. Now, Windows is not case sensitive for folder names. Alright, and as I've said before, I'm a router and switch guy, so it's been a while since I've been in and played with all of this. But this is just confirming that our server is running, and you could connect to any other device running here or any other usernames. So you can do a few things, but doesn't really need to be going in here. There's not a great deal there, so there's that. Let's have a look what else is there. Okay, the only other really bit that I want to do, I'll just exit out of our SSH connection, so we clear that, and what we'll do is we'll create it so the SSH connects using a PowerShell window automatically, because if you open using a command prompt, it will use a command prompt. So we can set it to open a PowerShell command prompt when you use SSH to remote in. So if we look at the git command PowerShell format table auto size should we cut this and rat is spelled RA. Alright, and as usual I've done some typo. Yes, I have. So always make sure you don't put extra spaces in when using command line. So from there we can see that PowerShell is the only application firing up PowerShell exe. We want to add that, so we want to do a new item property with a path of HKLM colon software open SSH name default shell value C drive / Windows system 32 Windows PowerShell version 1.0. PowerShell .exe property type string false. So if we get the command, yep, just double checking I had the right commands path. Alright, so now whenever you SSH in, you get the PowerShell window as the default window for SSH. Now the key pair authentication and SSH agent that is part of this activity printout, you don't need to set up or do anything with really, because unless you want to add different users to have access to the SSH server, by default it's the administrators group, so unless you want to add power users or something like that to the people authorized to use the OpenSSH keys, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. So if you want to add other users, groups and functions, then that's where you got to modify the pair key and that to generate keys for other users, groups within the server. As we're only using it as an administrator at the moment, we won't worry about it at this point. So that closes out activity 3. Not really a great deal in there. Just take your time, make sure your typing is accurate, otherwise you get that lovely red print that I did twice during this recording. I'm not going to re-record it. You guys know I make typos all over the place. So as you can see, you get told that the command wasn't accepted, and it will give you the reason why the command wasn't accepted in that printout of the red. So you go back, look at what it's telling you where the command is not accepted from, and retype that section. Generally speaking, if you're like me, you've either forgotten the dash before one of the parameters or put a space in where you shouldn't have. That's quite often my common typo. So just as I said, take your time typing it. If you get a red, don't worry about it. Just read what the command is telling you. It'll point you to where you need to fix the command line, and go back and re-enter the command, and you'll be fine. Alright, I'll leave it there. This is heading towards 30 minutes, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.